So Representative Hawkins, I appreciate you being with us here today. I'm Cheryl Grieb, Head of Public Policy. Of course, we have worked together in the past. And again, I appreciate you being here. Tell us a little bit about your district and what redistricting has done there.
So currently we're district number 42, which is the east side of Osceola County, including St. Cloud, a little bit of Kissimmee, around the lakefront, and then heads south through Solivita, down to Lake Wales and Frostproof. Takes me about an hour and 45 minutes to get to the southern portion. And then with redistricting, we'll now be district number 35, which is East Osceola, starting at Nova Road, but continues to go south through St. Cloud Manor, Kenansville, Yeehaw Junction, and then heads north, grabs Narcoossee Road a little bit, takes in Lake Nona south of the 417, and goes up and grabs Avalon Park, Buffalo, and Christmas.
Oh, wow. Wow, it's exciting for you.
Yeah, it's a large land mass, of course, but I'm used to that as a county commissioner.
I was going to say, as a county commissioner, you had the largest land mass in all of Florida.
Right. Yeah. So we're used to it. A lot of cattle out there.
Very cool. Very cool. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
What is your main priority when it comes to real estate legislation?
Well, I think mainly is to protect people's property rights. Personal property rights to me are vital. It's most people's largest investment. Especially if you're a business owner, then you have your home that you're owning, but also the business. And I think I always look at as real estate legislation, make sure it's not offending somebody's rights as a property owner.
Thank you. Very good. And I know you're familiar with the tragedy in Surfside, and I know that the realtors condominium reform and such was a major priority for us. What could be implemented to potentially mitigate something that happened in Surfside to not happen anywhere else?
You know, it was a tragedy we all woke up to over that summer, and just something that you would not expect to happen, not in Florida, but in the United States and a developed country. Catastrophe failures of inspections and not allowing or people not holding others accountable to get work done, the maintenance and everything. Again, should never happen in a country like ours without some kind of natural disaster or even planning for that. But you know, we have upgraded the building codes in Florida ever since we started getting the mass amount of hurricanes and storms that we get. We need to continue to look at technology and how that works, but we also have to hold those accountable for make the decisions and doing the inspections. I think more property owners need to ask questions, and if you're in an HOA, especially in a condominium association, be asking those questions. When you see things, why aren't we upgrading this? Where's our money going? And make sure that's being done. That should be just common sense. But from a Florida standpoint, I think we never stop educating ourselves on what can be done to protect our citizens, whether it's a single-family home, a high-rise living building, or a high-rise business center. So I think we just continue to educate ourselves and look what other people are doing to make sure they're ensuring public safety. That's our number one job as elected officials.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So the environment makes Florida very unique. And with some of the budget going to the Everglades restoration, are there any other areas of interest that you have as far as concerning the environment, especially in the Osceola County area?
Sure. I mean, so many people think of our tourism as just Disney, Universal, SeaWorld. But when you look at the environment, so many people come here just to bird watch and walk our trails, and we have that natural beauty that we've got to protect. So I was happy to see that working with the ranching community, $300 million, the largest investment ever in land conservation. They still get to produce their crops, grow sod, but that land will be protected now in conservation easements. And I think to me that is just a win for all of Florida, but also to protect people coming here to make sure they know we're growing fast, but we're going to protect the wildlife corridor. We're going to make sure that we still keep the natural beauty of Florida. The things that drew people here in the 50s and 60s first to see the springs and the manatees. And it goes from protecting our animals to protecting the natural beauty we have. And I hope we always continue to invest in that and looking for other ways to work with development as it goes, but also to make sure we're protecting those sensitive areas.
And I believe you had a little bit something to do with some potential funding for Lake Runnymede?
Yes, on the local level, we did. You know, we have to make sure that we're getting these lakes cleaned up and accessed. And so I ran in appropriations to make sure that we could put a boat ramp in so they could get into the lake at Runnymede to properly care for it. I'm not one that's real big on spraying. I would like us to look at that plant life, maybe work with IFAS to test it and see if it could be used in anaerobic digestion, something I'm involved in, and harvest it instead of putting chemicals into our lake. I just try to avoid that whenever we can and see if there's a more natural way to take care of it instead of putting something that, one, will wear off in a couple of years and the plants will become resistant to it. And then we'll have to get something probably more on a not really unsafe level, but increase the chemicals, and that's something I'd like to see us avoid.
And it just turns to nitrogen, phosphorus, and creates more of an issue.
Absolutely, and it all goes down to Okeechobee and out into, you know, you served on the 9-county coalition of water, and you know how important it is, and we take a lot of flack, and a lot of times it's not our cattle industry or sod industry that's doing it. You and I supported some legislation as commissioners about homeowners and how much they should spray and fertilizer. And I believe here in Osceola we even make our lawn care guys go to classes and get certified before they can get their license. So keep looking at ways like that. Even the small stuff makes a huge difference.
Thank you for that. What is your stance on the business rent tax, and where do you see that moving forward?
Well, it's something that only Florida has, and it's something that really hurts us when it comes to business. The problem is the state has relied on these millions of dollars that's raised from it, and we have to replace that somehow. So looking for ways to do that. You know, people have talked about getting rid of the corporate tax loophole for the big companies that work here and then send their dollars or pay their taxes back, say a Walmart back in Arkansas. I'm not sure what the legislature will do. I know the waters are being tested and it's being talked about. And I think it's bipartisan. We realize we have to get rid of that. So I'm open to any ideas that we have and looking for ways, because I think it hurts us from a commercial business. People come here from out of state, they're looking to expand their companies or put a distribution center in. They make a deal on the property and then, oh yeah, we got this tax on you. And they walk away. We can't afford to have anything stand in our way. We see the growth coming here with people. Growth's coming here also with the businesses. Business is going to come where the people are. That's something that's a hurdle to those businesses coming to help our citizens and give us more products and jobs.
Excellent, excellent. So kind of switching gears a little bit, what has your office done in relation to affordable housing, and where do you see that moving?
So in the 2 years I've been in the legislature, we kind of put what I call a cap on the Sadowski funds. It was never done before. My class stood up when it first was proposed and said, that's not enough. I believe it was $141 million. And we went to the speaker as a class, which there's 24 of us, so we have some control, even as freshmen. And this is the Republican side. And we have some great realtors in our class, and Jim Mooney and Lauren Mello, and they kind of brought us all together and said it needs to be more. So I believe it went to $250 million, that it couldn't go below that. Working to support that and make sure that was put in place, that it can never be fully rated again to help in other areas of the budget or stolen. We supported the Hometown Heroes, which I know is important to the realtors, and they should have our support, and we'll see if the citizens agree with us on that when it gets on the ballot. But you know, we want to make sure that we put people and plug in with the county government, with the city government when they call. We had a call just this week, a single mom with 6 kids. And working with Representative Arrington's office and our office, we got with the county to at least get them in a shelter of some kind of hotel till some housing could be found for them. So I think, one, you have to work with other levels of government, but two, we need to make sure that we're doing what we can to make construction of affordable housing easier, whether it's increasing the permitting process, maybe putting some more people involved in the growing areas to make sure that those tax dollars, those tax credits are going to the areas where the most need is. And we know we need that here in Osceola County.
Do you have a concern that the sale funds were lessened, because that's the fund used to build more affordable housing units, and is that something you would look at in the future?
Yes, I would. Yes, and I do have a concern.
Excellent. And again, thank you for coming. What other legislation are you working on that maybe you could tell us a little bit about?
Well, this may shock you, but I always thought when we were county commissioners, we know Osceola is growing residentially. And the problems we probably hear the most in our office are, of course, insurance costs, which I think the legislature is going to do something probably when we reconvene in the fall in organization. Lack of affordable housing, and then high-paying jobs. So we can take care of the insurance, but I think as this county grows, I think counties of a certain size, I would like us to see for however many acres you approve for residential, that you have to set aside or future land use for industrial and commercial. I think that should be part of your growth plan moving forward when you submit that. I think it would help the realtors to help bring business here. Infrastructure needs, we know that I think currently 75% of our population travels outside of Osceola County for work. And I think it's because we lack the zoning here for business to come. Ameritrail searched and searched to finally find a spot. And if we put this future land use in place first, we don't have to worry about those that want to build subdivisions up against that property. They know already that the property next to them could be industrial or commercial. I'd like to see us set aside more industrial and commercial property, one, for our realtors to not only sell residential, but also in the commercial market. Get rid of that business tax lease, and then we as a Osceola County could continue to grow, get distribution centers here, get some more light manufacturing. We know we're going to have high tech at Neo City, but the surrounding areas, the second tier and third tier industries, let's give them places where they don't have to go through a public hearing just to get their zoning. Let's set that property aside, but let's make it a ratio of so much residential to so much commercial and industrial.
Well, that's good for me to hear with my county commissioner hat on, because we actually are looking at additional properties that we can have for industrial or distribution for that supply chain and such.
Right. And I'm not one that likes the state, to tell the counties what to do, but I think if we don't do something and working together, we're gonna fall short, and we'll continue to have traffic with people going out of the county every day to try to find the work or the higher paying jobs. And so I think it solves a lot of our problems that we currently have, but we have to start today.
Very good. Well, thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate all you do.